Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदानेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की
जय।
श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय जय।
हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण।
तो रीडिंग अध्याय 9। तो लास्ट वीक हम लोग 8th अध्याय कंप्लीट करें, राइट? एंड दैट 8th अध्याय वाज अबाउट Sagar Maharaj, right? We are reading about dynasty of current Manu, Vivasvat Manu. In that dynasty, we were first reading about Maharaj Mandata, right? And then we saw how Mandata had sons, and then how Sagar Maharaj of his son became the Rajrishi, kind of. And then he was in the Ashwamedh Yajna. Ashwamedh Yajna ke time pe, his sons went to search for the horse because Lord Indra took away the horse. They found it was near Kapil Muni's ashram, and then they didn't think properly about Kapil Muni, and then 60,000 people just they were burnt to ashes, right? But then after that, Sagar Maharaj had other sons like Aṁśumān, and then Aṁśumān went and he glorified Kapil Muni, as we saw how he glorified Kapil Muni, right? Kapil Muni being none other than avatar of Lord Vishnu. And then he got the horse back. Sagar Maharaj did the Ashwamedh Yajna, and then he gave the kingdom to Aṁśumān. Yeah. Then Sagar Maharaj gave the kingdom to Aṁśumān, and then he left for the spiritual process, right? And so what we are reading now in the 9th Adhyaya is about the dynasty of Aṁśumān, who was son of Sagar Maharaj, and very interesting reading. So, Hare Krishna Prem.
Hare Krishna Krishna.
So we start with the first shlok. Anilji?
Yeah. Sri Shuka Vacha Aṁśumānscha tapastepe Ganga nen kamyayaha kalam mahantam nashaknot tata kalena sanstitaha. Shukadeva Goswami continued, King Aṁśumān, like his grandfather, performed austerities for a very long time. Nonetheless, he could not bring the Ganges to this material world, and thereafter, in due course of time, he died. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. And so King Aṁśumān was son of Sagar Maharaj, yeah. We were reading about Sagar Maharaj last week. And he could not bring the Ganges to the material world. And why was he trying to bring the Ganges? Do you know? Do you remember?
To get his 40,000
Right. Yeah, right? Because when they went to get the Ashwa, they found near Kapil Muni, and 60,000 of his, along with his brothers, were burnt to ashes. And then Kapil Muni told Aṁśumān king that those can only be benefited by getting the Ganga Jal. Yeah. And Ganga was not on earth at that time. So that's why Aṁśumān was trying to get the Ganges to the material world. That's why we see Ganges is belonging to the spiritual world, right? So he was trying to get it here, but then he could not. Yeah, he says here, Kalam Mahantam Nasha. Tata Kalena Sansita. Based on the Kal, the time, yeah, Aṁśumān left the world, but he could not get the Ganges. Ajay?
दिलीपस्त सुस्तस्त द्वद शक्तः काल मेवान भगीरथस्तस्य सुतस्तेपे sumhat tapah. Like Aṁśumān himself, Dilip, his son, was unable to bring the Ganges to the material world, and he also became a victim of death in due course of time. Then Dilipa's son Bhagirath performed very severe austerities to bring the Ganges to the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we all know Bhagirath Maharaj, yeah? That's why Bhagirath Ganga, we all know about that. So what is being mentioned, Bhagirath was the son of Dilip Maharaj, who was son of Sagar Maharaj, son of Mandhata, right? Like how the dynasty of Vivaswat Manu has been described, right? So Bhagirath Maharaj, yeah, then he did the tapah, lot of austerities to bring this, and that's what we are reading currently. Prem?
Darshaya Devi Prasanna Vardasmi Te Iti Yukta Swam Abhipraya Sasam Savannato Nipa. Thereafter, Mother Ganges appeared before King Bhagirath and said, I am very much satisfied with your austerities, and I am now prepared to give you benedictions as you desire. Being thus addressed by Ganga Devi, Mother Ganges, the king bowed his head before her and explained his desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, yeah, Devi Prasanna, that's the Ganga Devi, right? And he's asking, right? He says the king's desire was to deliver his forefathers, right? As we know, all those 60,000 people along with his forefathers who had been burned to ashes because of disrespecting Kapil Muni at that time, right? So, Hare Krishna, Tarun.
Hare Krishna Bhajan. Kopi dharyayita vegam patnintya me mahitale anyatha bhutalam bhutva naprayasve rasata lam. Mother Ganges replied, when I fall from the sky to the surface of the planet Earth, the water will certainly be very forceful. Who will sustain that force? If I am not sustained, I shall pierce the surface of the earth and go down to Ratasthala, the Patal area of the universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Bhagirath Maharaj, yeah, gets darshan of Ganga Devi after doing all the austerity. What is Ganga Nadi saying? Yeah, is she Vegam, yeah, the tej of Ganga Nadi will be so that will go down. The Mahi is the earth, right? Mahi Tale. And what will happen is if nobody can handle Ganga Nadi, yeah, it says Anyatha, what will happen? Bhutalam Vitva Nipyashe Rasatalam. Yeah, Rasatal. We have read about Rasatal, right? The lok under Bhu. We have, as we have been talking again and again about this, how many loks we have under Bhu, right? Under Earth? How many loks?
7.
7, right? Like if you remember, right? Tal, Vital, Atal, then Rasatal, then Talatal, Mahatal, and bottommost is Patal, right? So that's where what he's saying is it will go down to Rasatal. That's how much the force of Ganga will be, is what Ganga Maya is telling to Bhagirath Maharaj. Kim chaham na bhuam yashe nara maya mrijanyat adham mrijami tad adham kwaham rajam istrat vichintyatam. O king, I do not wish to go down to the planet Earth, for there the people in general will bathe in my water to cleanse themselves of the reactions of their sinful deeds. When all these sinful reactions accumulate in me, how shall I become free from them? You must consider this very carefully. Yeah. So it's very interesting what Ganga Nadi is telling Bhagirath Maharaj. Number one, somebody needs to handle Ganga Nadi, otherwise it will go down to Rasatal. Number two, because the Ganga Nadi is so pure, anyone who will take bath will get reaction free from the sinful deeds. But then where does those sinful reactions go to, right? So all those sinful reactions will accumulate in Ganga Nadi, and Ganga Maya is asking, how will she will become free from them? Because she is now getting all the sinful deeds of everyone on Bhu, and so she is asking him to consider this very carefully. Yeah, she says, Adham, like all the Adham karmas of Mrizanyatya, like all the people on Bhu, will be then accumulated in Ganga Nadi. Nice purpose. So let's read this, Anilji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead says, Sarva Dharman Parityaje Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvayam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshaya Swami Ma Suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can accept the reactions of anyone's sinful deeds and neutralize them because he is pavitra, pure, like the sun, which is never contaminated by any worldly infection. Tejasyama na doshaya vahne sarva bhujo yatha. Bhagavatam 10.33.29. One who is very powerful is not affected by any sinful activity. But here we see that Mother Ganges fears being burdened with the sins of the people in general who would bathe in her waters. This indicates that no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is able to neutralize the reactions of sinful deeds, whether one's own or those of others. Sometimes the spiritual master, after accepting a disciple, must take charge of that disciple's past sinful activities, and being overloaded must sometimes suffer, if not fully, then partially, for the sinful acts of the disciple. Every disciple, therefore, must be very careful not to commit sinful activities after initiation. The poor spiritual master is kind and merciful enough to accept a disciple and partially suffer for that disciple's sinful activities. But Krishna, being merciful to his servant, neutralizes the reactions of sinful deeds for the servant who engages in preaching his glories. Even Mother Ganges feared the sinful reactions of the people in general and was anxious about how she would counteract the burden of these sins. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is being mentioned here is a couple of things here, right? First of all, of course, we all know this shlok 18.66, right? From Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman paritajya. Yeah. Abandon all varieties of religion. And religion doesn't mean Hindu, Muslim, all that here, right? It basically means the way of life. Like whatever you are doing, right? You abandon all those varieties of things and just surrender unto me. Mam ekam sharnam vraja. Yeah, just surrender unto me. And surrendering we have seen. What does this surrender means, right? Doing the devotional service. And we have seen there are 9 different ways of doing the devotional service. That is what surrender means, right? But then what Lord Krishna is saying, if you do that, what will happen? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Yeah, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Yeah, mokshiya shami ma suche. So he will, so that's what is mentioned. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. This is what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And and this is what is mentioned, that Lord can, of course, take care of all the sinful reactions and and have everyone free of those, right? And then what is being mentioned here is that spiritual master. So, we have this Guru Parampara in our religion, right? A lot of people will have their gurus and all that. So what happens is being Guru is a huge responsibility, right? Because the Guru is now going to absorb all the karmas of their disciples, the real Gurus, right? I mean, we have all those kind of Gurus, but the real Gurus will absorb all kind of karmas of their disciples. And the point is, if those disciples are committing sinful reactions, yeah, because it's not easy to get away from the materialistic tendencies. They're committing sinful activities after initiation. All those sinful reactions go to the Guru, right? Because Guru is responsible for his disciples, you see, right? So that's why it's being mentioned that the disciple should be very careful, because otherwise it goes to his Guru. But then also what is being mentioned is, but the Guru, if he is the servant to Lord Shri Krishna, right? Lord Shri Krishna will neutralize the reactions of sinful deeds of the servant who engages in preaching his glories, right? So very interestingly being mentioned. So what Ma Ganga is saying, she gave darshan to Bhagirath Maharaj, and she is saying two things. One is, what is the first one? What is the first thing Ganga Maya is saying to Bhagirath Maharaj?
Who will, if my force is not broken, then I'm going to go to Patal.
Right. So Ganga Maya is going to come, but with such a weight, such a speed that will pierce through the earth and get to the Patal if no one can handle on the earth. And the second thing, what is she mentioning?
About everybody who is taking baths with their sins to come to her. So how is that going to be balanced?
Right. Yeah, because once she is here, a lot of people will take bath. In materialistic world, we all have all the sinful reactions from karmas, from past and present. But once you take bath in Ganga, those will be washed, but then those get accumulated in Ganga. So how will that be taken care of? So those are the two things which Ganga Maya is asking. Yeah. So we'll continue reading. Sachin, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Sri Bhagavata Uvacha. Sadhavo Nyasinah Shanta Brahmishta Lokapavanaha Harantyagam Te Tenga Sangat Teshvaste Yadhi Yadhya Vidhariha. Bhagirath said, those who are saintly because of devotional service and are therefore in the renounced order, free from material desires, and who are pure devotees, expert in following the regulative principle mentioned in the Vedas, are always glorious and pure in behavior and are able to deliver all fallen souls. When such pure devotees bathe in your water, the sinful reactions accumulated from other people will certainly be counteracted. For such devotees always keep in the core of their hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can vanquish all sinful reactions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very interesting, right? What Bhagirath Maharaj is telling Ganga Nadi, yeah, is that sadhu, like basically people who are saintly because of their devotional service and renounced order, free from material desires. And we have a lot of saints like this. So when you see all these sadhu mahatmas, right, the real sadhu mahatmas, I mean, these days you find a lot of fake ones too, but the real sadhu mahatmas, right, who are doing the devotional service, sadhu nyasine shanta brahmista, right, says people who are free from material desires, people who are pure devotees, right, are always glorious and pure in their behavior and who are able to deliver all fallen souls. So if you see real sun, says lok pavana hai, they are able to deliver the fallen souls. What will happen? Because they will also take bath in Ganga Nadi, so that will counteract with the sinful reactions of all the other people, right? So you see how great service all these sadhus and santas are doing to all the materialistic people like us, right? They go and take a bath in Ganga Nadi and they abolish the sinful reactions of all the other people who are taking bath in Ganga Nadi. And why are they able to do it? Saying the sinful reactions accumulated from other people will certainly be counteracted by such devotees. All the sadhu sant. And why would they be able to do that? Because, says here, Abhi Hari hai, because they always keep in the core of their hearts the supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, that's how all the sadhu sant are always doing the devotional service, right? All these bhaktis, chanting. So because of that, they will be able to vanquish all sinful reactions, because Hari can vanquish all the sinful reactions. So this is what Bhagirath Maharaj is replying to Ganga Nadi, that don't worry about the sinful reactions, because not only the materialistic people, but the devotees will also take a bath. So all the sinful reactions will be counteracted and will go away, right? Nice purpose. So let's read this. Hare Krishna, Rinaji.
Hare Krishna, Maya. Mother Ganges is available to everyone for bathing. Therefore, not only will sinful persons bathe in the Ganges river, but in Haridwar and other holy places where the Ganges flows, saintly persons and devotees will also bathe in the water of Ganges. Devotees and saintly persons advanced in the renounced order can deliver even the Ganges. Turthi Kurvanti Tirthani Savanta Sthena Gadabrata. Bhagavad Gita 1.13.10. Because saintly devotees always keep the Lord within the core of their hearts, they can perfectly cleanse the holy places of all sinful reactions. Therefore, people in general must always respectfully honor saintly persons. It is ordered that as soon as one sees a Vaishnava or even a sannyasi, one should immediately offer respects to such a holy man. If one forgets to show respect in this way, one must observe a fast for that day. This is a Vedic injunction. One must be extremely careful to refrain from committing offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee of or saintly person. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we should always respect the true gurus, true mahatmas, true sadhus, right? Is what is mentioned here. No? Tarun?
There are methods of prayaschita or atonement, but they are inadequate to cleanse one of sinful reactions. One can be cleansed of sinful reactions only by devotional service, as stated in regard to the history of Ajamila. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agyam dhunvanti kartasnena nratram iva bhaskara. Only rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Bhagavad 6.1.15. If one is under the protection of a devotee and sincerely renders service unto him, by this process of Bhakti Yoga, one is certainly able to counteract all sinful reactions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so what is mentioned here is from Bhagavatam itself. Says Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya. Kevalya, right? Only the devotion service, Bhaktya. What can achieve that? And Bhakti to Vasudev Parayana hai. Yeah, so to Vasudev, to Lord Shri Krishna, if you do that, Agham Dhunvanti. So all the weeds of sinful actions will be washed away, is what is mentioned. Anilji?
Bharishati te vegam ruddhastvatma shariram yasminno tadmidam protam vishwam shativa tantushu. Like a cloth woven of threads extending for its length and breadth, this entire universe in all its latitude and longitude is situated under different potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is the incarnation of the Lord, and thus he represents the super soul in the embodied soul. He can sustain your forceful waves on his head. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Bhagirath Maharaj, the second problem of the sinful reaction is solved because the devotees will take bath in the Ganga river. The first thing which Ganga Nadi said, like someone needs to hold her, that will be what Bhagirath Maharaj is saying is Lord Shiva, right? Rudra, Swatma Sharirina, because Bhagwan Rudra, Bhagwan Shiva is none other than avatar of Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He is the incarnation of the Lord, so he can actually sustain your forceful wave. Yeah, Vegam. Dhari asti te Vegam. So the wave of Ganga Nadi, yeah, can be sustained by Lord Shiva. Rudra Sharirina. Yeah. So that's what Bhagirath Maharaj is saying. And nice purport again. So let's read this. Ajay?
The water of the Ganges is supposed to rest on the head of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who sustains the entire universe by different potencies. Lord Shiva is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.45 as Shram Yatha Dadhi Vikara Visela Yugat Sanjanyate Nahi Tata Prasthag Asti Hetu Yah Sambhutam Api Tatha Samutpaiti Karyad Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Milk changes into yogurt when mixed with yogurt culture, but actually yogurt is constitutionally nothing but milk. Similarly, Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, assumes the form of Lord Shiva for the special purpose of material transactions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is being mentioned here is the Ganges, of course, is supposed to rest on the head of Lord Shiva. Of course, Lord Shiva is incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And this is actually mentioned in the Brahma Samhita. What is Brahma Samhita?
Brahma Samhita is the Lord Brahma's prayer to Lord Vishnu.
Right. Yeah. Lord Brahma's prayer to Lord Vishnu, Govinda. Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami is the prayer of from Lord Brahma to Govindam. And at that time he's saying, right, Yatha Dadhi. Dadhi is the, like from doodh se jo dahi banta hai, right? We know how we make the yogurt. That's how Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva has been described in this particular prayer, right? That milk changes into yogurt, right? So what is being compared is like if Lord Vishnu is the milk and Lord Shiva is the yogurt, and there is no difference, right? Yogurt is constitutionally nothing but milk, right? So what is being mentioned is Govinda, right? The Supreme Personality of Godhead assumes the form of Lord Shiva for the special purpose of material transactions, right? So let's continue reading this. Prem.
I offer my obeisances at Lord Govinda's lotus feet. Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the same sense that yogurt is also milk, although at the same time it is not milk. For the maintenance of the material world, there are three incarnations, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Vishnu in an incarnation for the mode of ignorance. The material world exists predominantly in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, Lord Shiva is compared here to the longitude and latitude of the entire universe, which resembles a cloth woven of threads extending for both its length and breadth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so as we can see, Lord Shiva represents the mode of ignorance. And there are three modes of material world, right? The mode of goodness, mode of patience, mode of ignorance, right? So who represents mode of goodness? Satogun? We have three modes, right? Three modes of materialistic world. And we have three incarnations, right? Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Mahesh. So Lord Vishnu represents the Satogun, yeah, the mode of goodness. And Lord Brahma represents the Rajogun, yeah, mode of patience. And then Lord Mahesh, Lord Shiva, represents the mode of ignorance, right? So they represent means they own those modes and then they manage those, is right? Like we see there, how do you manage the construction, running, and destruction of the world, right? So those are also in different modes of materialistic world. So that's what is mentioned here, right? So that's how Lord Shiva is described, and he will be able to handle the speed of Ganga Nadi is what is being mentioned by Bhagirath Maharaj. So let's continue reading. Sachin.
इत्युक्त्वा स नृपो देवं तपसा तोषयच्छिवं कालेनाल्पीयसा राजन्स्तस्य श्चाश्वतुष्यत्. After saying this, Bhagirath satisfied Lord Shiva by performing austerities. O King Parikshit, Lord Shiva was very quickly satisfied with Bhagirath. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Lord Shiva, of course, if you pray to Lord Shiva, he gets quickly satisfied. And that's the austerity Bhagirath Maharaj performed to Lord Shiva. Yeah. And it says the word Asva Atushayata indicate that Lord Shiva was satisfied very soon. And thereafter, another name for Lord Shiva is Ashutosh. Right? We know that Asutosh is also another name of Lord Shiva, and what that means is he is very easily pleased with the devotees. Yeah, says materialistic persons become attached to Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva bestows benedictions upon anyone and everyone very quickly, not caring to know how his devotees prosper or suffer. Right? He is always so kind. He is called as Ashutosh. Rinaji?
राज्ञाभिहितं सर्वलोकहितः शिवः दधारावहितो गंगां पादपूतजलां हरे. When King Bhagirath approached Lord Shiva and requested him to sustain the forceful waves of the Ganges, Lord Shiva accepted the proposal by saying, "Let it be so." Then, with great attention, he sustained the Ganges on his head, for the water of the Ganges is purifying, having emanated from the toes of Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Sarvalok Hita Shiva hai, right? He, of course, it says Dadara Vahito Gangam Padput Jalam Hare hai. So he sustained the Ganga on his head, and of course, it's coming from the lotus feet of Hari. Yeah, it's coming from, emanated from toes of Lord Vishnu. Bhagirath se Raj Rishi Anirne Bhuvan Pavanim Yatra Swapitranam Deha Bhasmi Bhutashmashirte. The great and saintly King Bhagirath brought the Ganges, which can deliver all the fallen souls, to that place on earth where the bodies of his forefathers lay burnt to ashes. Yeah. So he says, Bhuvan Pavanim, yeah, can deliver all the fallen souls, all the sinful reactions. That's why we say, you go to Ganga Nadi, all the paps are washed away. So this is how the King Bhagirath got Ganga on this earth. Yeah. So, and then of course, we know the reason why Bhagirath Maharaj wanted to get Ganga Nadi from his perspective, because Kapil Muni mentioned that all his Pitradev, right, all the people were burnt to ashes because they did not respect Kapil Muni, right? So they all got burned. So all those could be revived and sent to the spiritual planet by Ganga Nadi itself. So Bhagirath Maharaj, who was descendant of Sagar Maharaj, tried to bring the Ganga Nadi, and then he satisfied the two conditions. One is, who is going to handle the force of Ganga Nadi? So that was Shivji Bhagwan, and he prayed to Lord Shiva. And the second thing is, he said all the devotees will take a bath, so all the sinful reactions will be counteracted. And so this is how the Ganga Nadi came on earth. Yeah. Anilji?
Uthen Vayuvegena Priyantamanu Dhavati Deshan Punanti Nirdagdhana Sinchya Sagaratmajan. Bhagirath mounted a swift chariot and drove before Mother Ganges, who followed him, purifying many countries until they reached the ashes of Bhagirath's forefathers, the sons of Sagar, who were thus sprinkled with water from the Ganges. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Rathena Vayu Vegena. So this is how Bhagirath Maharaj took his chariot, and of course the Ganga Nadi came behind him and going across so many places. And then they also sprinkled the water on their Pitradi. Ajay?
यज्जल जलम जल स्पर्श स्पर्श मात्रेण ब्रह्मदंड हता अपि सगरात्मजा दिवम जगमुह केवलम देह भस्मभि. Because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offered a great personality, the heat of their bodies had increased, and they were burnt to ashes. But simply by being sprinkled with water from Ganges, all of them became eligible to go to heavenly planets. What then is to be said of those who use the water of Mother Ganges to worship her? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is being mentioned and who is saying this? Sukdev Goswami is describing this to Parikshit Maharaj, and he's saying that Jal Sparsha Matrena, like just by sprinkling some Ganga water, Brahma Dand Hata Api. Brahma Dand, like the punishment, right? Because they had not respected Kapil Muni, who is none other than Bhagwan Vishnu's avatar, right? So they had this Brahma Dand. Even that gets pardoned, right? By what? By just doing the Jal Sparsh. So what is being mentioned is, what about the people who are offering the Ganga Nadi's water to her itself and doing prayers to Ganga Nadi and taking bath in Ganga Nadi is what is mentioned. Huh? And a nice purpose. So let's read this. Karun?
Mother Ganges is worshipped by the water of the Ganges. A devotee takes a little water from the Ganges and offers it back to the Ganges. When the devotee takes the water, Mother Ganges does not lose anything. When the water is offered back, Mother Ganges does not increase. But in this way, the worshipper of the Ganges is benefited. Similarly, a devotee of the Lord offers the Lord Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, a leaf, flower, fruit, or whatever, in great devotion. But everything, including the leaf, flower, fruit, and water, belongs to the Lord, and therefore there is nothing to renounce or to accept. One must simply take advantage of the bhakti process, because by following this process, one does not lose anything, but one gains the favor of the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so you take the same water from Ganga Nadi and offer it to Ganga Nadi itself, right? A devotee doesn't lose anything, but his sinful reactions are washed away. Okay?
Bhashmi Bhutanga Sangena Sarv Yata Sagaratmaja Kim Punah Shraddhaya Devim Sevante Ye Dhritvata. Simply by having water from the Ganges come in contact with the ashes of their burned bodies, the sons of Sagar Maharaj were elevated to the heavenly planets. Therefore, what is to be said of a devotee who worships Mother Ganges faithfully with a determined vow? One can only imagine the benefit that accrues to such a devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So we can understand like why it is so important in our culture, right, to go and take a bath in Ganga River. Yeah, is what we are seeing right now. Yeah. So, Sachin?
न एतेत परमाश्चर्यं स्वर्धुन्या यदि हो दितम् अनन्तचरणा भोज प्रसूताया भविच्छदः. Because Mother Ganges emanates from the lotus toe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ananta Deva, she is able to liberate one from material bondage. Therefore, whatever is described herewith about her is not at all wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, right? Like it's not surprising what is being made. Param Ascharya, it is not surprising. Na hotat Param Ascharya, because It's coming from where? Ananta Charana Ambhoja Prasutaya. Yeah, it is coming from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And that's why she is able to liberate one from material bondage, right? And so, because she can do it, because she is coming from lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, it is not a surprising thing, is what is mentioned. Yeah, just read this quickly, Rinaji.
It has actually been seen that anyone who regularly worships Mother Ganges simply by bathing in her water keeps very good health and gradually becomes a devotee of the Lord. This is the effect of bathing in the water of the Ganges. Bathing in the Ganges is recommended in all Vedic Shastras, and one who takes to this path will certainly be completely freed from all sinful reactions. The practical example of this is that the sons of Maharaja Sagar went to the heavenly planets when water from the Ganges merely touched the ashes of their burnt bodies. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this is the significance of Mother Ganges water. And also we know that, right? You keep that Mother Ganga's water, it never goes bad. It's always fresh. Yeah. Sannivesham mano yasmi shraddhaya muniyo amlahe tregunyam dustyajam hitva shaddo yata stad atmatam. Great sages, completely freed from material lusty desires, devote their mind fully to the service of the Lord. Such persons are liberated from material bondage without difficulty, and they become transcendentally situated, acquiring the spiritual quality of the Lord. This is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So what is being described is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Muniyo Amla hai, the Muni, right? The Rishi Munis who are Amla, like the freed from all the sins, right? And Tregunyam Dustyajam. Like what is being mentioned is like this Tregunya. Tregunya is what? Those three gunas which we read, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Dustyajam is like very difficult to give up. Like all of us are so influenced, continuously influenced by Tamogun, Rajogun. We may have some Satogun, right? Like reading Srimad Bhagavatam right now, but then we have all kind of Tamoguns and Rajoguns, right? It's so difficult to overcome, but the Rishis, the Munis are able to overcome those, right? And they are transcendently situated, acquiring the spiritual quality of the Lord himself. Because once they get freed from those things, materialistic things, they start getting the qualities of the spiritual quality of the Lord himself. This is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also we saw the glories of Ganga Nadi. I think we'll pause here. Just give it more time. So, Bolo Ganga Nadi ki jai. Yeah. So see how, why Ganga Nadi is so important in our lives. Yeah. And since we are reading about Ganga Nadi, we are going to hear Ganga Aarti. Yeah. So let's hear the Aarti. It's 6-7 minutes. Then we'll pause.
सुखदाता एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता यम की त्रास मिटाकर यम की त्रास मिटाकर परम गति पाता आरती मात तुम्हारी जो जन नित गाता दास वही सहज में दास वही सहज में मुक्ति को पाता ओम जय गंगे माता श्री जय गंगे माता जो नर तुझको ध्याता जो नर तुझको ध्याता मन वांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता
बोलो गंगा माता की।
जय।
All right, so nice Ganga Aarti, right? And then we see the Sagar Maharaj also mentioned in the Ganga Aarti. And that is why Sukdev Goswami ji is telling about all those descendants, because ultimately coming to Bhagirath Maharaj and then talking about the Ganga. So nice. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow at 9:30 again. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.